Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Batman Arkham Knight Red Hood Story Pack DLC, no damage walkthrough. Although technically it's more of a run-through than a walkthrough, because I personally don't believe you can teach people how to do something without taking damage. It's just a case of patience and dedication and a lot of restarts if you're having a bad day. But this is brought to you by a guy who goes by the name of RMC on Twitter. He was kind enough to hook me up with the code for this game, so massive props to that guy. It consists of 2 big fights and 1 Predator sequence, and it's going to be available later on as via the Season Pass or as just a standalone DLC if you choose to purchase it. You play as the Red Hood, one of the aliases of Jason Todd, I think his name is, and you have access to 3 items. You're going to see me use one of them, which is that just there. His double guns are the equivalent of the batarangs. He also has access to a stun grenade, which is pretty useful, but I didn't use it too much here, and an ability to pull people like the Batclaw. The difference being is, you don't have to finish them off when you pull them towards you, because you actually pull yourself to them, and that single hit will knock them down. So you can use that quite interesting to mix things up. However, the Red Hood, just like Harley Quinn, suffers from a very similar design choice, which I don't really understand, as cool and as fun as this content is. He doesn't have a lot of the new additions to Arkham Knight. For instance, I've played through this content now about 4 times, and I haven't been able to do the counter where you hold a direction to throw people. Doesn't seem to work. You're not able to pick people off the ground, you're not able to do destroy weapon takedowns, you're not able to do a lot of the really cooler stuff that Batman's been able to do, which seems a little bit limiting, and I'm hoping that if they do any more of this content, they're going to lift those restrictions, because as fun and as awesome as it is, you do feel limited in your abilities. But the main difference between Batman and this character is that this character kills people, or that it seems like he kills people anyway. So you're going to see him breaking people's necks, you're going to see him shooting people. It's a very different feel to playing as Batman. And it's pretty cool, but one thing I will say is he's pretty slow, this character, and I learnt that when I was trying to beat attacks rather than countering them when I had a good free flow going, and the amount of times I got hit because the animation he chose to do was too slow compared to some of the ones he could pick. And the only character that this doesn't really seem to be a big issue for is the faster ones, like Nightwing, like Azrael, like Catwoman. This character in particular seems a little bit slower than Harley did, and Harley was pretty quick, but the animations that these particular individuals have are really nice to look at because they're so very different, and they all have their different rhythms to them so that you know when to start pressing the attack for the next person to get you critical and what have you. And this guy's Predator sections aren't really anything different to Batman's. It alludes to a new mechanic when you first begin this, which is, do you see how there's people who are blue along with the standard orange looking fellas? Well, the blue guys are armoured, which means you can't kill them with the guns, because you can do a lot of this by just shooting people. However, I decided to do it just by taking them down, and I used this jump here to hit the wall, land on the platform, and then silent take down that guy, and break his neck, which... You hear that noise, guys? That's the noise of breaking a neck. It might not be accurate to real life when necks are broken, but it's accurate to what we assume it sounds like thanks to Hollywood and thanks to video games. That's the sound that was lacking in Resident Evil 5, because it's the worst noise ever. And I just thought I'd bring it up because I seem to bring it up quite a lot. But there's not too much to this particular content, and it's really surprising, because if you remember when we played as Harley Quinn, the game allowed us to run around in between the sequences. It trusted us to, you know, do other things, whereas this one just doesn't. It is encounter, cutscene, encounter, cutscene, encounter. And whereas they are quite big in each of them, it's probably shorter than Harley's when you add it all together, as we transition now into the interrogation moments, which are pretty brutal, because he kills people, which is pretty nasty. But this is the big fight and the boss fight against the Black Mask. So you'll notice that there's 2 people here with the electricity batons. If you don't know how to deal with those guys, you can stun them with B, but the best way to generally deal with it is to jump over them, and then do whatever you want to do from that position. Of course, you can break that if you want to, but just jump over them and then do what you want with them. However, be aware that if they turn around, you will get electrocuted, and if someone's in the process of picking up one of those batons, if you attack them, you'll get electrocuted. I have a pretty funny fail on this particular fight, which I was going to include here because this is a really short video, but it was literally this video, then right at the end, I go to hit the last guy, and he picks up a baton and I get electrocuted. So it's like a 3-minute fight ruined because of that silliness. But this is the Black Mask, and you'll notice that he'll every so often pull his gun, there'll be a laser sight, and then you can press the counter button and go into the double guns to do some damage. But hitting the Black Knight, what the hell am I talking about? The Black Mask, sorry. But hitting him doesn't do any damage, have you noticed that? You have to finish takedowns against him, or use your guns. You can also do the backclaw, or whatever the hell Red Hood's equivalent is, but what I like to do is I like to chain beatdowns on him in the corner, and then just counter people who come into camera. It's a really effective way of doing it. It does take a while, but every time you get an execution, you'll see a big chunk of his life go down. And just go back into the beatdown, and continue from here. But I really wish these story packs had some scoring system, like a grading system at the end of it, just to give you an incentive to play them again and maybe score chase, because as it stands, there's really no replay value in them other than playing through them again to get used to the animations and just, you know, get your money's worth out of the DLC. And as much as I've really enjoyed them, depending on what the price is for them, it's kind of steep, all considered. And I know a lot of people are disappointed, and I understand that, but there's still something really fun here, and I look forward to seeing whatever the hell they do with these next editions in the Arkham stories. Batgirl is coming on the 14th. I'm probably going to shell out on the Season Pass as much as I don't want to support it because I think it's disgusting, but you get that DLC a week early, and I would love to keep bringing Batman Arkham Knight content to the channel. So thank you very much for watching. Another big thank you to my subscriber who gave me the code, and you take care now.